everyone, in this video we're going to have a look at the newest features of Elementor Page Builder that have been added in the version 2.5. These new amazing features are going to allow you to recreate the boldest and craziest design solutions on your website with the help of Elementor Page Builder using the convenient and familiar interface. So now, since Elementor is introducing Flexbox layout, for the users are now available position absolute, position fixed, Flexbox distribution, and the possibility to create widgets that will be existing side by side in one single column, which can be achieved with the help of inline width option. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use all of these amazing features and show you on a live example. So in this overview, we're going to be actively using all of these new amazing features. So if you want to read this post on an Elementor website, I'll leave the link in the description under this video. So in order to realize the true power of the new features that have been added to the Elementor after the version 2.5, we're gonna need a WordPress theme to test all of these capabilities on. So the theme of our choice today is going to be Monstroid 2. It is an Elementor WordPress theme by TemplateMonster. What's great about it is that it has everything to make your work with Elementor even more comfortable. So it features a dozen of powerful JetPlugins that are going to help you to create any kind of website: an online store, a blog, a business page, a website for a restaurant, etc. And also Monstroid 2 features a lot, really a lot, over 1,000 of pre-made sections and hundreds of pre-made pages that you can use an unlimited number of times anywhere on your website. Monstroid 2 also has a lot of other features, and I totally recommend you to go and check this theme out yourself. There is also the link to Monstroid 2 WordPress theme in the description under this video. So now let's go ahead and have a look at all of these amazing features one by one. So first, let's have a look at the position absolute. This is a new feature now allowing you to design outside of the grid on WordPress. So pretty much you'll be able to grab any element, drag it around and position it at any spot of your page. So let me demonstrate this. What we could do is to click on this widget and then go to Advanced, Custom Positioning. That's a new tab. And there in the position option, we choose absolute. Now what I can do is to grab this button and easily and freely drag it around. Like, you can position it literally everywhere. It may be more useful not for the button, but for some design elements, some elements that you're going to decorate your page with. But you can do it pretty much with every single widget that you've got. The only and pretty obvious drawback in this case is that now it's not really responsibility friendly. When you take the element out of the traditional grid, it is not tied to the entire page structure anymore. And it means when the page resizes to the size of a tablet or a mobile screen, it may cause a problem because this element is gonna float somewhere where it is not supposed to be. So like you see in this case. Now this button is floating somewhere outside the page, so not where it is supposed to be. But there is an easy workaround for that. As you see here, you have the note saying that you have to carefully use this feature. And the workaround is that here you have the vertical position and horizontal position, and here you can control the offset of the element. That's pretty much, these values reflect where your element is positioned on the page, and they're going to change along the way as you grab the widget and drag it around. As you see, these values are changing as I move in this widget on the page. So you can set different values for each device right here. So if I want this button to be at this particular place when our page is in the responsive mode for a mobile device, So I just position it right there. Like we set the position to 0, so it is in the middle of the page. And then we go to the tablet, where we can also tweak the position of this button. Right there, now it is in the middle again. And then we go to desktop, where we also set the position for it. Let it be there. Like, just to show you that it is not tied to the position of the button on a tablet and on the mobile screen. So we place it here on a desktop, then we go to the tablet mode. There it is, where we have set it. And then we go to mobile. And as you see, now we can set different position values for the element with the position absolute. So this problem is solved really easily. The team behind Elementor has really thought it through, and if you use it carefully, that is not going to cause any problem. So that's it for the position absolute. But also in the same drop-down, you can find the fixed position, which is a second new feature that we're going to have a look at in this video. The thing is that you can simply grab and drag this widget as you could with the position absolute. But now when you scroll down the page, this element is kind of stuck and now it's scrolling alongside the user. As they scroll down the page, this element is going to follow them. So now you can grab any widget and just simply stick it to your viewport, and the user is going to be constantly seeing this particular element. And its position can also be controlled with these offset sliders. Again, if you want to be sure that it's going to work on a tablet mode and the mobile screen as well, you can go ahead and select the separate values for the offset position in here. And another feature I really want to point out is making Elementor even more user-friendly and more comfortable to work with. Now Elementor remembers the last tab in the widget settings that you were working with. And then once you click on another widget like I did, now I was working with the button, and in my case, I went to advanced and opened custom positioning, and I was working there. And then I clicked on another widget, on this one, and say I edited some text. And now I want to go back to this widget, to the button, and keep working in the same tab where I have left off, right? Before, I had to click on a widget and it would bring me to Content tab first. Then I had to go to Advanced, find the tab Content Position here and click on it again. And then I'll get where I was when I left off. But now it is totally different because I click back on the button and it instantly opens at that particular spot where I have left off, which is really going to save you a lot of time while working in the Elementor editor. Alright, now let's keep working with the same button for one more feature. So previously in Elementor, one widget took up all the width of the column. As you see here, this is the column, and now this widget, the button widget, it takes up the entire width of the column. So I cannot put anything else in the same column next to it, on the left or on the right, only above or below. The same case here. So if we have one section, we split it up into 3 columns and only one element can be placed into the column and takes up all of its width. But if I want to place 2 buttons next to each other, what I need to do is to place 2 columns and use inner section widget and place 2 columns in here, and in one column there will be one button and in another column there will be another button. But now it is way easier to do. So you click on the button again, you go to Advanced, Custom Positioning, it's the same tab, then we go to Width and we choose Inline. Now this option clips your widget to the object that is contained in your widget. So the empty space that does not really contain anything is simply cropped. So now it allows us to duplicate this button. There we go. And now they can be placed next to each other. What's more, we can go on and add more and more buttons, as many buttons as our column width is going to allow us. But I'm going to delete that. Now this arrangement of buttons allows us to have a look at yet another feature that Elementor has added in the latest major update, and that being flex alignment, the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment. In this case, let me show you how you can work with that. You can find it if you go to the settings of the column. Not this section, but the column itself. So you click on it, and it takes you to the Layout tab. And this is where we can now find vertical align and horizontal align options. For now, let's have a look at the horizontal align option. Once you open the drop-down, you see Start, Center, and Space Between, Space Around, and Space Evenly. Let's have a look at each of these options one by one. So Start, this is pretty much where our buttons currently are. They are at the start, which means they are aligned to the left-hand side of the column. Then if we go to Center, they're going to be centered according to the column. Then if we go to End, they're going to stick to the right side of the column. Now, more interesting options are Space Between, which is going to separate the buttons by only inserting space between them and inserting no space between the sides of the column and the button. So it only ensures that there is some space between the objects, whatever objects you put in there. Now we're working with 2 buttons, but it can really be 3, 4, or more objects in your column, and they're all going to be aligned according to the setting that you choose in the horizontal align dropdown. So now it's space between, space around. Now, as you see, we've got some space on the side of this button, between the side of the column and between the button. But you see that between the buttons, there's actually more space than between the side of the column and the button. That's because it adds some space on the side of each button. So each button has some space on the left and on the right. And when positioning the buttons next to each other, this space on the side of each button adds up, and that's why it creates 2 times more space than it is between the button and the side of the column. Now if we go space evenly, there's going to be equal amount of space between the sides of the column and the button, and also the same amount of space between the buttons themselves. So now we can try and recreate this same layout with these 3 widgets that was previously created using 3 separate columns, and each column contains 1 widget. Now we can actually try and do it using the new functionality available in Elementor. Now what I'm going to do is to drop all of these in a single section. Now there we go. They're all now in one single column. Now what we can do to make them appear side by side. So we need to go to the settings of the widget, go to Advanced. In the Custom Positioning, we find Width, but we don't grab Inline. Let's grab Custom. There in the Custom Width, we set 300 for the custom width. Then let's do the same procedure with the remaining 2 widgets. So there we go. But the positioning is not really what we want. Now we need to go to the column settings, and then there goes horizontal align. As you remember, the best option here will be either space around space evenly, or space between. I'm gonna go with space around. And now we've got pretty much the same result that we did with the 3-column layout in this section. So now we know how the horizontal alignment works, and the vertical alignment works pretty much the same way. Here I have put 3 widgets, one after another, in one single column. Then we click on this column. Now we're here in the layout settings. There, in the vertical align. Now the top option is chosen. If we choose middle, its group of widgets is going to be aligned to the middle of the column. If we choose bottom, it's going to be aligned to the bottom of the page. Space between is going to add space between the widgets. Space around is going to add the even amount of space around each widget. And space evenly option is going to ensure that there is an even amount of space between the border of the column and the widgets. Also, even if you have one single widget in your column, you can also use vertical and horizontal align options. Simply click on the column. Here you have the same settings, and depending on what option you choose, your widget is going to stick to the desired place. But in case you have only one widget in the column, you can use only top 3 options here: top, middle, or bottom, or start, center, or end if you're using horizontal align. Now, one more feature that has been added is the possibility to hide certain columns on certain devices. Like you could go to section, advanced, go to responsive, and here in the visibility section, there was an option to hide this particular section on a desktop, tablet, or mobile device. Now, you can also hide a column, not entire section, but the column. So let's say I want the user to see this section, but see only one column of it, only this one, because it contains the information. But I don't want the user to see this image. So now, without this setting on, when I go to mobile, I see the image and the text. If I go to tablet, I also do see the image and the text. Now what we can do here is we can click on this column, go to advanced, responsive. Now this particular column will be hidden on tablet and mobile devices. As you see here, the display settings, show or hide a column or a section, are not going to take effect when you're in Elementor editor, only when you're on a live preview. What we can do here is to click on the preview, and it takes us to the preview page. So there it goes, our column is visible on the desktop, but now we can go to Developer Tools. Now let's scroll down and see it on a mobile device. Now, as you see, there is no that column that we have hidden. So now this is that easy to hide columns on certain devices. Back to the Elementor editor. Now there is the last thing I wanted to show you here. Now Elementor offers you an option to arrange your text in multiple columns. And I have added some text to the text editor, and what you can do now is to go to Style tab. Here in the columns option, you choose how many columns you want your text to split into. And you can also change the space between columns. You can create up to 10 columns, and you can also set different options for different devices. Now that's pretty much it for the overview of the new truly amazing features that the Elementor team has added to their page builder pretty recently in the one of the latest 2.5 updates. The TemplateMonster team is proud to say that we're using Elementor page builder to create our finest WordPress themes and craft our own tools to make Elementor even a better and more powerful page builder. So if you haven't checked the latest Elementor features, I recommend you to go ahead and update your Elementor page builder and check them all out. And also go to the description box under this video if you want to check what Monstroid 2 is capable of. So go ahead, update your Elementor page builder and enjoy the new awesome features.